I'll be back. Let's have a look immediately. As I said, plenty requests for this week. I'm going to look at Jubilee for Esther. And Esther is looking there for a long-term chart. Let's quickly have a look here. Jubilee. Remember, this was one of those darlings of a few weeks ago. It just knew one way, and that was the way to the top. It didn't want to pull back. It didn't want to give you an opportunity. But remember, this is a weekly chart here. I'm a little bit nervous on this. If I look at Jubilee here, what do we see? A beautiful high all the way up to the 4 rand level. But let's just have a look here, Esther. First of all, I'm going to show you what I'm seeing here. Then you will know I'm a little bit nervous on the stock. There's a beautiful trend line. Let's see what happens to the 40 weeks moving average here. Because remember, this is a weekly chart. 40 week. Okay, it's still strong above its 40-week moving average. It looks still good to me. I just want to add another one, if you don't mind, the 20-week. I've got a brilliant colleague in the office that loves to do that, and her name is Christelle. And she loves to sometimes use the 20-week moving average to show if the share can go higher or whatever the case may be. There you are. Well, there you are. There's the clear move here. It broke the 20-week moving average, so there's definitely for me the first warning signal. But what I don't like, Esther, is that it broke this support line, this trend line. It broke it at 3.64. So unfortunately, out of a medium to a long-term view, I will not look at Jubilee for a buy. I believe if it remains below this level, and we're just below that at 3.42, we can easily see it down to 3.12 and even on 2.86. And remember, this is a weekly chart, so you will actually use the chart on a Friday. The Friday close will actually give you the clue what to do there. So I will say, just be careful about it. But I don't like this chart. Well, let's have a look at Westcoal. And Westcoal, let's have a look here. Westcoal. And who asked about that? Oh, Nelson. Nelson asked about Westcoal. Nelson, let's have a look here. I just want to draw it in here because I'm sure you want to have a buying opportunity on it. Sorry, there you are. I think you also may be a little bit late here. But what I like about this chart, look at this beautiful rounding bottom here. That's classic. That is usually a chart that tells you it wants to go higher. There's something else that I like about this chart is, look at this little bit of a breakaway gap here. And I sometimes, if a share is under pressure, I sometimes look at maybe a little bit of a breakaway candle or a breakaway gap. Just give me a clue that there were some serious buyers. Because what happened, look at the low of this candle, this ugly little tiny little candle here, the bearish one. The low was 93 cents. That tells you for that day, the guys were right at the end, still selling Westcoal at 93 cents. But what happened the following day? The following day when it opened with a gap between 94 cents and the low of that candle was 95. So this little gap tells you that over that period of the sellers, suddenly there was somebody that was keen to buy it. And what happened? These sellers here, they were still around. That's why you see this upper shadow here. That tells you that some of these sellers were still selling. And when the share went as high as 102 cents, they sold it down all the way just where to close it at 98 cents. But since then, Westcoal is slowly but surely ticking higher. And you can see these candles, strong candles. In actual fact, for me, from 97 to 110 in a matter of 5 days, it's a little bit much. So I will not just rush in to buy it. But of course, I know there's a lot of viewers here that say, Frans, we are momentum traders. We like to chase a share price higher. So then if you are a momentum trader, you must buy it above R1.13. Make use of a stop loss of 105 and your targets to the top will be 116. There's another level of 116 and maybe as high as 124 over the couple of days that's coming. Well, let's have a look at Standard Bank. Martin was also looking at Standard Bank. Now, that's a different Martin because I know my Martin is always keen on the technology counters, but this one, Standard Bank, let's have a look here. Standard Bank, let's quickly find it there. There you are. He's looking for a buying opportunity here, and strangely enough, some of the banks, the longer term charts, also worries us on this banks, because what do you see here? And everybody will immediately recognize this. Look at that. There you are. There's a ugly head and shoulder, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. It's on its way to pay out, and we're close to reach the target of the conservative target of Standard Bank. What I like about this, Martin, is look at this. After the selling that took place, we see this beautiful bullish engulfing candle, and that bullish engulfing candle above 121.23 can maybe attract some other buyers. So I like that. So above 121.23, if you want a speculative buy, you can buy it, make use of a stop loss of 116.81, and your targets to the top will be 124.73, 127.91, 128.52, 130.132, 132.76, and whoa, even as high as 133.79 cents. Well, let's look at Capitec. Steve wants to know about Capitec. Well, I was one of the guys that tweeted the other day and said, listen, Capitec is showing some signs of weakness. And why did I say that? I said, listen, there's something interesting on the chart. First of all, the chart is starting to react normal. And what happened here, there was a few shadows of upper shadow, a few candles of upper shadows. This little tiny hammer, that gave me the clue that something is there. And there was also a beautiful hanging man formation. Let's have a look here, just to show you a hanging man formation. It's usually a bullish candle, with a tiny little doji or a hammer or a reversal candle in this big candle, just following it up. And then you see the uglish bearish candle, and that's what you call a hanging man formation. That's 3 candles, and all 3 of them, not the first one, not the second one, the third one actually tells you that something was on the boil here and the share would like to go down. And what happened? Since then, the share came down, it gave us a little bit of a bounce, and for me personally, now it's selling off, and you can see every time that there's a little bit of a bounce there, look at the shadows. Some higher upper shadows that's telling you somebody is selling it into strength. And remember, this was one of those shares that just knew one thing. It wants to go higher. Now for me, if I look at this chart, there's the crucial line for me. And there you are. If I draw in that little support there, there's the support. And look what we see here. That's quite interesting. I pointed out earlier that look at these upper shadows. Every time that it gets to this level, and where's that level? Low of that candle, 1,585.10 cents. Every time that it gets there, there's some sellers, and this is exactly what happened there. It's telling you that there's some sellers here. So I'm nervous about Capitec. I believe that Capitec had quite a sell-off in the last couple of days. We can easily see a bounce. But while this hanging man is in place, while the share is below this level of 1,737.49, I'm nervous on Capitec, and I think it can actually go a little bit lower. Well, let's have a look at Jabu's request. He was looking at Sasol. Let's have a look. There's Sasol. And remember, Sasol loves strong oil price and loves a gold price. Yeah, gold price. Loves a strong oil price and a weaker rand. If I look at Sasol here, what worries me a little bit, let's first, before we give the good news, is I'm looking at this. Oopsie daisy. I don't like it because Sasol learned us in the past that a head and shoulder formation is not good for Sasol. But what do we see here? There's the left shoulder. There's the massive head. And we're on the right shoulder. But what is the good news is that we found support right at the neckline. There's the neckline. The neckline was at 204.23. From there, it bounced higher. So for me, it's quite simple. while it's above 204.23, it can actually go higher, because what you sometimes see is that shares that likes to go higher, or that's got a lot of momentum, or bias to go, well, as you can say, buying bias behind it, you can always sometimes see it bounces off the neckline. So for me, it's bullish, and I'm not just a little bit worried about all these upper shadows, but above this high of this candle, 217.55, it can actually go higher and go to the top of this right shoulder. There you are. That is sitting at 234.43. Well, if it breaks above that, of course, this right shoulder will be off the table, and then it can go higher. But let's use our stop loss, and this is our stop loss. I will not use this neckline because there's an earlier candle that shows a little bit of strength here, and that will be the low of this candle, and that will be at 201.72. So if you do buy it above this level of 217.55, use the level of 201.72 as your stop loss to protect the capital. I believe that Sasol can maybe surprise us. Why? Because we are seeing a weaker rand, and I think if the rand starts to kick, it can easily take Sasol higher. The only thing that worries me is a little bit of a gap still open here. I'm going to tell you that maybe it can still close it if it breaks this neckline, so be nervous about it. And that is between, there's the low of that candle, 201.72, and the high of this candle is sitting at 199, so it can maybe just test this line of 200 Rand. So I'm a little bit nervous. Sasol looks a little bit shaky for me, Jabu, so just be a bit careful and stick to your stop loss, and definitely stick to this gap to guide you in a position there to be in or out. Well, watch the show next time again, and visit our website www.fransdeklerk.com, and thank you for all the best shows that we've had until now. Thank you. Bye.